Here are two reasons why so many people have not seen success in their lives. And we're going to teach you how it is that you can start to protect these two. And that is our time and our energy. And for so many of us, we all want to become successful. We all think that if we just learn the techniques and the skills that we need, and we just do what it is we need to be doing, then all of a sudden we could start to see that success. However, we don't realize that there are certain things, certain defensive mechanisms that we have to put into place in order to allow ourselves to just go up that stream, to allow ourselves to become the people to do the things that we want to be doing. It's like we're all being held back by certain areas in our life. If we could just get ourselves released from them, so then we're going to be able to just move so much quicker. And we're going to fly through so many different areas of our life. So instead of being held back, instead of things being so difficult, so then we're able to move forward. Another area which we're not going to talk about today is going to be our mindset and what it is we could do with our minds in order to just help ourselves with the limiting beliefs that we have, the fears that we have, and all the different areas that we want to be able to not be scared of. Because if we can start to focus on those specific areas, then that also is going to be one of these arrows, or one of these bows that are really holding us back. So let's try to figure out what we can do in regards to our time and our energy. And we're going to start with time, because energy I'm a little bit more passionate about, because there's only a newer idea, a newer concept that really helped me jump into that. So when it comes to our time, so we all know that time is precious, and we all know that we all have a certain amount of time on this earth, and we all have 24 hours in our days, and everybody has 24 hours in our days. And what we have to try to do is, how can we try to maximize those times? And what we have to really consider is, at the end of the day, we're only going to have a certain amount of time that we're going to be putting into different priorities. And we only have a certain amount of priorities that we can really focus on with such intense concentration. And that is the biggest key, because on the one hand, although we have so much time, how much of that time is really focused? How much of that time are we guarding that we know that regardless of what's going on, we're going to be able to just do what it is we need to be doing? And if we could start to understand that there are certain things that we could put into place, which we'll talk about, to allow ourselves to become that focused, to be able to put ourselves in the right position, that's going to be the thing that could help us move forward. I remember the first time it really happened to me was when I started to notice myself that after work, or after I give myself the time from 5 to 7 to just be with my family, and I used to check my phone profusely. All the time during that time, just to text them, a message, literally just whatever everybody checks all the time. I used to start checking during those times, and I started to get annoyed and frustrated. And not just that, other people in my family started noticing it, and it became like a big thing. And I realized, like, hey, if I really want to be able to focus on my family now, then I have to figure out what is I can start to do with this. How can I protect this time from 5 to 7? And I remember there was this guy, I don't even know where I found him. There was this guy, this guy in my community, and he was giving out these old cigar boxes. There's a cigar store in our there still is, or actually they moved. Actually, there's a cigar store in our community, and whenever they finished, I guess, selling the cigars, they were just going to get rid of the boxes that they were in. And apparently, these boxes are the perfect size for somebody's phone. And he was giving them out, saying, "Here, you can take a box and use it as an area where you can just put your phone in and hide your phone in order to not be distracted by it." And I immediately ran over to him. I'm like, I need to have one of these boxes. He's like, yeah, sure, take it. So I ended up taking one of these boxes and I put it in my kitchen. So now whenever I come into my kitchen, I have this box that I could just put my phone in. And what we have to realize is that one box, which is silly, because it's like, better just don't pick up your phone or put it on the other area, whatever it is. That one thing is that something that could be so beneficial in order to just allow you to protect the time that you have. And for so many of us, it's so easy to fall into certain routines that we just do certain things, and our time just gets so wasted. And what we have to try to figure out is, what is it we can be doing? And I recently wrote I wrote a post for LinkedIn, and it wasn't actually initially for LinkedIn. There was this idea that I was thinking about, and one night I just put on some music and I just sat with my computer and I just started writing it. And the basic idea is that so many people think that social media is the biggest distraction nowadays. And it might be the biggest distraction, but I don't know if it's the most dangerous distraction. And hear me out. See, when people talk about distraction and procrastination, they're talking about things that they know they shouldn't be doing, but they're doing anyway. Okay, so maybe it's, I don't know, watching Netflix, but maybe it's social media, maybe, I don't know, it could be a million different things that you should be doing. However, there are other areas of our life that we think we should be doing. We should be putting ourselves into those situations. We think that they are important to us. And because we think they're important to us, we end up spending so much time within those things. However, when push comes to shove, when we look back, or even if we start to reflect on our life right now, it's very possible that those very things are really not so important. Those very things that we're convinced are important might be important to somebody else. Those very things that we think are very important is this ending that it's going to have is just going to just open up, and we're going to realize, hey, you know what? I just spent so much time doing this thing. And everyone has their different areas that they're focused on. I know for me personally, it's like with business, right? There's so much I could be doing. There's always, it never ends. Right? You can always constantly be doing more and more and more. But at the end of the day, like, should I be wasting like my time that I have with my family? Should I be wasting time that I can be having in order to just be healthy? Can I be wasting other areas of my time in order to do my business? And there are some times where I think, yeah, it's actually important that you need to be focusing on your business. Your business needs you at that time. But there are other times where it doesn't necessarily need you, and we take advantage of those other priorities in our life. And what we have to try to do as humans is we have to try to juggle everything that's going on. We have to try to understand how am I supposed to be acting right now? How much time should I be putting into this right now? Because there are certain times where, you know what, I should be focusing more on this and more and less on that. And more and other times I should be focusing more on that and less on this. And it's really on us to be able to understand and learn how to be doing this juggling act. And it is a juggling act that we need to figure out. And if we can start to figure this out, then all of a sudden we have the ability to understand what's going on over here. How is it that I can put myself in a situation where I can start to see that success? And once we start to do that, then all of a sudden everything starts to shift. There's such a difference because what's going to end up happening is that we're going to be able to realize that we can have success in so many different areas, because success does take time and we need to put in time. And you know what? Sometimes we're going to have the plenty of it in order to allow ourselves to attain the success. And other times we're not going to have it. And sometimes we have, periods in our life where, you know what, this is a time where I should be focusing more on my business. And as, things get busier in other areas of my life, then I'm going to be focusing on those things. And we have to try to recognize, hey, what's going on here. How am I supposed to balance this? Speak to other people, try to understand what else is going on. And by doing that, then we can start to see what it is we can be doing. But at the end of the day, we all have a certain amount of time and we need to start protecting it. And that means when we're starting to do some, work in the office, and we need to really be able to just sit down and focus, it's putting our phone away, or it's putting on a timer, just give ourselves a certain amount of time. It's not being distracted by all the other things that are happening around. It's, you know what, I'm shutting my phone off. So if people need me, they can't reach me right now because I need to get myself focused enough to be able to do what it is I need to be doing. And that is something that comes out so often because we get so distracted. And the worst is when you get distracted with quote unquote productive things. And that's like the scariest procrastination, because we're moving the needle, right? We're doing the minor activities, but in order to see that success, in order to be able to move forward, we have to do the major activities. You have to be able to do the things that are really going to make a difference and really move things forward. And I think when it comes to time, we all have a certain amount of it, but unfortunately, a lot of us get distracted. And really the biggest thing is not necessarily the time we have, but it's the focused time we have. And that is something that can make all the difference when it comes to whatever area it is that we're looking to do. The next area that I'd like to speak about is this area of energy. And you see, for me, I didn't realize how important our energy levels were. And for, I would say, most of my life, probably till the last like 2-3 years, I didn't realize how much people, situations, just anxiety and stress suck the energy out of me. And because of that, I wasn't able to perform at my highest or my best. Right? When I'm stressed out, I can't sleep. I can't function the next day. Right? Certain people that I was around would have such an influence on me, and I would get so worked up, even if nothing happened, but just in my mind, I would get worked up. And I realized that wasn't good for what it is I wanted to be doing. It wasn't productive for my own success. It wasn't productive for my own, self-confidence and self-worth, my own self-esteem that I was trying to build. And we all need to realize that there are people out there who love to suck our energy. And it's not necessarily their fault. Sometimes it is their fault. Sometimes it's not even their fault because they don't even know they're doing it, because we might have never had a backbone to say something, or we put ourselves in a situation and we allowed that to happen. So therefore that's how they just react now. But what we have to start to understand is that there's certain things in our life, there's certain areas that we can start to focus on, because if we can start to conserve our energy, so then we're going to be able to move forward in different areas of our life. And that's only on us to make it happen. So when you see these different things happening in our lives, when you see other people going on, and you see other experiences that you want, and you just can't get yourself to do it, ask yourself, what's holding you back? What's that fear? Who's that person in your head that's really holding you back? And it's so important because I didn't realize how much of my life I was thinking about other people, how much of the headspace that I had. I wasn't being able to be creative and innovative in terms of what it is I wanted to be doing, but I was so focused on, what's so-and-so going to think? That one line that they one time said to me, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or that experience that I went through that didn't go well. It's like that after the first time I bought an investment property and I lost money. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be a hard one to bounce back from, because now I have this belief that all investment properties that I do are not going to go well as I would like. And I realized like that's not going to be beneficial. So I got to get it back on pretty quickly. I got to get back onto the bandwagon. I can't have that negativity seeping in, because it could literally cost me weeks, months, or years of my life. And how many of us have had certain opportunities where, we didn't realize that by us focusing on something else as opposed to ourselves, then we don't allow ourselves to move forward. And I think the big thing over here is, number one, let's start with people, is we have to realize that when it comes to certain people in our life, we have to know who are the ones who suck the energy out of us and the ones who give us energy. Because just as much as somebody who pulls the energy out, there are others people who can literally light us up, who give us that power, that energy to be doing so much. And having those people around us can be so liberating, so exciting, and so hopeful, because we're all going on this journey trying to figure it out. But having that person in your corner, even if they're not there, even if they're not physically there, but they're in your corner, that could be the person that really helps you move forward. I like to tell the story about one of my more recent friends that I've made. And I told him this, and I think it's like the biggest compliment. And I hope that I could be this person to somebody else. I don't know if I am or not. I don't think I am yet, but I hope I could be this person to somebody else. And I told him, I'm like, if I, God forbid, go through anything, like, and I need support, I need money, I need somebody to like pick me up in the middle of the night, like 5 hours away, I'm like, I know I can call you and you're not going to even ask me what's going on, and like you would do it. And he looked at me, he's like, yeah, you're right. And to me, that was, even before he said he was right, like it was just, for me, knowing that gives me such a confidence that like I could take certain risks, I could do certain things. And I thought that was, that to me, I'm so lucky to have somebody like that in my life. And I said, like, that's like the biggest compliment. If I could be that to somebody else, to know that no matter what's happening, not going to ask any questions, just going to get that support. That is something that is so energizing, because I know whatever happens, like, I'm going to be okay. Like, I'm going to at least have somebody who's going to try to help me out. And it can be so important to have people like that in your life. And I want to try to collect those types of people. And not just the people who are going to come out in the middle of the night, but the people who are like cheering me on, the people who are pushing me, the people who are ahead of me, who are trying to pull me up to them. And if you can have that type of person, imagine what we can do. Because we're so easily judgmental on our lives. We so easily bring ourselves down. We so easily push ourselves into the mud. And yet it's so difficult to get out of it. It's so hard to be able to come back, and that resilience, it's exhausting. And time after time again, you're trying to make it work. You're trying to put in the effort. You're trying to figure it out. You see other people figuring it out. You're like, why can't I get it? And what we have to realize is that we have to try to support ourselves with the people around us who can help us with that. Because if we could have the energy, if we could be on that high, if we could have that energy of like, we just won the championship and that's the energy I want to be, like, bring it on, that could be the person that changes everything for us. And if we can start to put ourselves in a situation where we have those people around us, imagine how much more you can be doing. Imagine how much more success you can have in your life. Less doubt you're going to have in your life. How many more risks you're looking to take. How many more opportunities you're going to have. And that's all based on the people around you. The other idea about energy is the experiences that we go through. And that's really a frame. And what we have to do is we have to shift the frame. And how are we perceiving these experiences? Are we looking at these experiences as things that are bringing us down, things that are defining us? And I would say defining us in the negative, that this is who I am. I'm labeling myself. I'm not successful. I'm somebody who tries but hasn't yet seen that thing that I want to be seeing. Or is it, this is the thing that's going to make me? This is just the foundation. This is just the building block of what I'm trying to do. It's all the rocks that are part of the cement that we're just going to mush together in order to make that solid foundation. And if we can start to understand that, then that shift just alone, we're not going to be judging ourselves when we go through things. We're not going to be beating ourselves up when we go through things. We're not going to be upset when we go through things because we realize we're just getting this feedback that's only going to help us to move forward. And for so many of us, we get so stuck and we get so focused on all the negative that's happening, on all the things that are going wrong, that we can't get ourselves out of it. We can't move forward. And all it is just a frame. It's a shift. And it's so difficult because on the one hand, you're like, okay, Bennett, that's nice, but X, Y, and Z still happen. It's like, yeah, but like you literally can change it all. And that's going to be on you. And you need to ask yourself, which way do you want to perceive it? Because regardless, the thing happened. And you have a choice. The question is, what choice are you going to be choosing? And I'm telling you, if we can start to focus on both our energy and our time, to protect them, to conserve them, to find ways to be able to give us more focused time, to give us more energy, to do the things that we want to be doing, it's not reasonable that we can't see certain successes that we have in our life. It's not reasonable that we can't put ourselves in a situation where we could do X, Y, and Z. And all we have to do is be a little bit disciplined, be a little consistent. And by having the energy and by having the time, all that's going to do is going to multiply the efforts that we're putting in. We're going to be able to see so much more. Let me know what questions you have. I'd be happy to help. And like always, keep at it. You got this. We'll see you all on the next one. Peace out.